India is building something so massive that the world still has no idea it even exists. As we are speaking right now, one of the biggest urban projects on the planet is rising out of open fields in Andhra Pradesh. Not a few towers, not another housing society. An entire brand new capital city is being constructed from zero. Roads, canals, government complexes, residential zones, and a futuristic technology hub all coming up at the same time. And almost nobody is talking about it. Most people outside India still picture the same old crowded streets, traffic jams, and chaos. But by 2035 or 2040, when this city is fully alive, visitors will step into it and genuinely ask themselves, is this still India? The greenery, the waterways, the clean design, the scale, it will feel like a different country. This is not a future plan sitting on paper. Construction is already happening. Thousands of workers are on site every single day. The foundations are in. The skyline is changing. And the most shocking part? The world is still largely asleep to it. Was Narendra Modi's rise as Prime Minister one of the biggest turning points for modern India? Many believe so. Because under this era, India is no longer just repairing old cities. It is creating entirely new ones at a speed and ambition the world is not ready for. In the next few minutes, you're going to see the city almost no one is talking about, yet. And once you do, you may never look at India's future the same way again. This city has a name, Amaravati. It sits in Andhra Pradesh, in southern India, between two existing cities, Vijayawada and Guntur, on the banks of the Krishna River. And it isn't a small side project. The master plan, designed by the UK-based architecture firm Foster Plus Partners, covers an area of roughly 217 square kilometers. To put that in perspective, that's larger than the entire city of Paris. The idea itself was born out of necessity. In 2014, the old state of Andhra Pradesh was split in two, and a new state called Telangana was carved out, taking the old shared capital Hyderabad with it. That left Andhra Pradesh needing a capital of its own, from scratch. Instead of retrofitting an existing town, the state government made a bold choice: build an entirely new city, designed for the 21st century from day one. That's the part people miss. This isn't an old city getting a facelift. It's roads, drainage, canals, government buildings, homes, and a tech corridor being planned and poured at the same time, on land that a decade ago was farmland. Here's the part of the story that makes it even more remarkable. This city has already survived a near-death experience. To make Amaravati possible, more than 33,000 acres of land were voluntarily pooled by local farmers, who handed over their fields in exchange for developed land and compensation once the city was built. The government began work: a secretariat building, an assembly, a high court. The bones of a functioning capital started to appear. Then, in 2019, a change of state government brought everything to a halt. The new administration proposed splitting Andhra Pradesh's functions across 3 different cities instead of concentrating them in Amaravati. One city for the executive, one for the legislature, one for the judiciary. For roughly 5 years, between 2019 and 2024, Amaravati sat largely frozen, construction slowed, investment paused. For thousands of farmers who had given up their land on a promise, it was an agonizing wait. Then, in 2024, elections brought the original architects of the project back into power. The 3 capital plan was scrapped, work resumed almost immediately, and in April 2026, the Indian government issued an official Gazette notification, permanently and legally settling the matter. Amaravati is now the sole and official capital of Andhra Pradesh. No more ambiguity, no more political tug-of-war. That's why so few people outside India have caught on yet. For half a decade, this looked like a project that might quietly die. Now it's very much alive, and moving faster than most people realize. Let's talk numbers because they're staggering. The renewed push to build Amaravati was launched with a foundation stone ceremony on May 2, 2025, led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, alongside Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu. That single event marked the start of infrastructure works worth over 58,000 crore rupees, more than $7 billion, and reportedly drew a crowd of several 100,000 people. The first phase alone, just phase 1 of this city, is priced at around $3.6 billion. Of that, close to $1.8 billion is coming through a joint program with two of the world's biggest development lenders, the World Bank and the Asian Development Bank, each contributing roughly $800 million. The rest comes from the Andhra Pradesh state government and India's central government. That's not spare change from a state budget. That's the kind of financing usually reserved for national infrastructure, highways, ports, entire rail networks. Here, it's being poured into a single city that doesn't fully exist yet. And the long-term ambition goes even further. Officials have floated an eventual total build-out cost north of 65,000 crore, with a vision for Amaravati to become a global-caliber economic hub, one projected, by government estimates, to generate 1.5 million jobs, house 3.5 million people, and produce a regional GDP of $35 billion by the year 2050. Whether every one of those projections is hit exactly on schedule is a different question. Big infrastructure projects almost never land exactly on target, anywhere in the world. But the scale of intent here is not in question. This is being built as a long-term economic engine, not just a government address. So what does under construction actually look like on the ground? The centerpiece is the new AP Legislative Assembly building, also designed by Foster Plus Partners and being built by the Indian engineering giant Larsen & Toubro under a contract worth roughly 617 crore rupees. Ground was broken in May 2025, and it's slated for completion by 2028. It alone will span more than 1.1 million square feet. Around it, inside what's called the Government Complex Zone, contractors are simultaneously working on high court buildings, secretariat structures, and neighborhood-level infrastructure, roads, drainage, water supply, and power. Housing is moving too. Thousands of residential units, including thousands of homes for government employees, are being fast-tracked, with the state government publicly pressuring contractors, including removing underperforming teams from at least one major firm, to hit deadlines. And this is where the 25,000 workers figure comes in. On any given day, thousands of laborers are active across dozens of individual work sites scattered over the capital region, pouring foundations, laying pipe networks, building canal systems, and erecting the first vertical structures of a city plan that, on paper, looks more like Amsterdam or Singapore than a typical Indian state capital. Officials have explicitly said that's the intent. A green and blue city, built around canals, wetlands, and public parks, rather than around concrete alone. Government progress reviews as recent as 2026 have put the value of works actively in progress across Amaravati at more than 57,000 crore rupees, money already moving through cranes, cement, and crews, not just sitting in a budget line. Now, to be fair to the story, and to you, a project this size doesn't move without friction, and it's worth being honest about that. Inspection visits by the World Bank in 2026 flagged a real problem, a shortage of construction labor on several sites, along with gaps in how some contractors were managing worker safety and welfare. In response, the World Bank has tied further loan disbursements directly to labor welfare benchmarks, meaning Andhra Pradesh doesn't just get the money automatically, it has to prove workers are being treated and paid properly to unlock each new tranche of funding. The state government has also publicly warned contractors, including removing representatives of at least one major construction firm, over missed timelines. None of that erases what's being built. If anything, it shows this isn't a vanity announcement dressed up for cameras. It's a live, monitored, occasionally messy infrastructure project, the kind that comes with real deadlines, real accountability, and real growing pains. That's usually a sign a project is actually happening, not just being talked about. So why haven't you heard about this? Partly because greenfield capital cities are rare and slow. The last comparable example most people can name is Brasilia, built in the 1950s, or perhaps Naypyidaw in Myanmar, or Putrajaya in Malaysia. None of those dominated global headlines while they were being built either. They became famous only once they were finished and photographed from above, partly because international coverage of India still leans heavily on familiar imagery, crowded streets, old infrastructure, chaos, rather than large-scale planned development. A canal-lined, tree-covered administrative capital rising out of farmland doesn't fit that picture, so it doesn't travel the same way in the news cycle. And partly, simply, because it's still under construction. The skyline isn't finished. The postcard moment hasn't arrived yet. But the foundations are literally already in the ground. The financing is signed. The legal status is settled. Thousands of workers are showing up to build it today, right now, while most of the world is looking somewhere else. By the early 2030s, if current timelines hold, Amaravati could be a functioning seat of government for a state of more than 50 million people, with canals instead of open drains, planned green corridors instead of unregulated sprawl, and a tech and finance district built into its DNA from the very start rather than bolted on decades later. Will it hit every target on schedule? Probably not exactly. Few megaprojects anywhere in the world do. But the direction is unmistakable. India isn't just repairing what already exists. In Andhra Pradesh, it's building something new, from an empty field, in real time. And for now, almost no one outside India is watching it happen.